Hey everyone, habari zenu, como está, guten Tag, good morning, good afternoon. And I know I kind of seem a certain way, and there's a reason for that. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But I was not technically supposed to make a video today, but I decided something in me spoke to me and I just had to. There's a reason for this. And it's because I have to speak on something very, very sensitive that I never thought I would have to speak on, but let's get to it. So as most of you know, I'm Kenyan American. So you see those flags in the back. Very proud dual citizen, very proud immigrant, very proud patriot of America and Kenya. And I voted for Trump very proudly. There's no secret about that. I have gotten a lot of hate, a lot of flack from not just Americans, Democrats, liberals, but also from my own friends. I have literally broken friendships because of being a Trump supporter. Someone I grew up with in primary school, yani that far back, had the audacity to tell me I have changed, I lack empathy, and how dare I vote for someone who's so racist. And mark you, he knows I'm a former Democrat. This is after I've told him I'm a former Democrat. By the way, don't start with that nonsense. There's a reason why I ended up liking Trump. There's a reason why a lot of us MAGA are former Democrats. We went digging down the rabbit hole to find our own information as to why and how this man was racist. And we were like, you guys, nonsense. It did the exact opposite effect. And here we are. But I want to focus on my personal experience, especially relating to Kenyans. Now, I can understand why people feel a certain way about Trump, especially you people who watch CNN, nyinyi, as if CNN is the tell-all. Even in Kenya, I hated CNN. Before I even was ever involved in American politics, I hated CNN because the picture they give of Africa and of Kenya especially is not a fair one. Okay, they do the whole Wakandanization thing, but then they focus on the poverty and, oh, look at these people, they are so, what's the word they used? They used a primitive. Once upon a time, CNN aired something that they called primitive. I have never forgiven them for that. But the fact that you all keep watching that nonsense, that's number one. Number two, I have been very disappointed watching Kenyans give me hate online. And obviously, I'm not going to talk in general terms. I'm going to talk specific people, okay? I have had a Kenyan just last week, Sikitambo. Last week, I had a Kenyan in my comments. This is me after I made a video about black privilege, because it is a thing in America, okay? Black privilege is what you have when you can get away with anything. You can scream racism whenever you're held responsible for stuff. It happens. It's happening. It has been happening. Look at the Carmelo Anthony case. So I made a video. Technically, I was just using the sound as the background, and I was at the gym and I was recording this video. She went in my comment section and she said, "Looks like Trump forgot to deport you," something on those lines. I'm paraphrasing. Then I click on her profile. And she's not even in America, by the way. She's in Kenya, University of Nairobi. I was like, girl, you can't hate when you're outside the club and you can't get in. Number two, why do you think it's okay to tell a legal immigrant who came in the right way that they're going to get deported just because you disagree with their ideologies? This is something I'm used to getting in America from the black Democrats. If you see me using quotation marks, it's because I don't like calling people black or white. I don't believe we are colors. I say dark-skinned, I say vanilla, I say chocolate, because I hate using colors as a descriptor of people, okay? So that's story for another day. I want to go into detail on that. But it struck me in a weird way, because every time it comes from the liberals, American liberals, both chocolate and vanilla liberals, I ask them, aren't you guys against deportation? Right? You're against deportation, but you're okay with it if it's someone you don't agree with, right? So you are against illegals getting deported, but you are okay with a legal immigrant who's conservative and MAGA. You're okay with me getting deported. This is a kind of hypocrisy that pushed me away from the Democrat Party. It's always antithetical stances, always. They can't stand on one thing and just be one thing. They're always double standards. But this is the exception. This is the exception, okay? That's one scenario. I have had before more Kenyan Americans reacting the same way. I was even once upon a time attacked in a Facebook group. I will not name it because I don't need the drama. for sharing a publication that I appeared in that covered the fact that I was fighting against BLM, because again, before I came out as a conservative, I was supporting BLM at the time. Until I started to see these things that made no sense to me. The fact that they were burning black businesses. And I was like, you're fighting for black lives, but you're burning black businesses. Make that make sense, right? So it's an article covering the fact that I'm not the black of my skin, which is true. I am proudly voted for Trump, which is true. I don't know if I had voted for him yet. Maybe, I don't remember. But I voted for Trump in 2020. And I remember posting this article in this Facebook group and expecting, I don't know what I was expecting. I was so naive. Maybe I was expecting, oh my God, congratulations. And it's a well-known newspaper. The article has since been taken down because of all the hate I've been getting and doxing and stuff. And they had my names on it. So I just told them to take it down. Unfortunately, it's just what it is. But it was Pulse. I was so shocked. I was very shocked to have Kenyan women telling me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You're an immigrant. These people, they've been dealing with this for a long time. And I'm like, it's 2025. At the time it was 2020. I was like, it's 2020. My conservative friends who look like me agree with me. They were born and raised here. They don't have a victimhood mentality. They don't hate the cops. They don't believe in BLM. Are you going to tell me they are wrong? And they couldn't say anything back. Anywho, it became a whole thing. I took the post down. Okay. That's just a little background. But what I was not expecting is the racism I have seen from Kenyans. It has been... I just got off the phone with my husband, who, for those who don't know, this is him. And he's going to become a Kenyan citizen in a couple of years because by marriage to me. But it was just shocking to me to see how people actually think. And it only takes you going in the comment sections of certain videos to see people's hearts and to see their souls, right? Because someone could make a video and it could be a spoof, satirical, but the comments always reflect the reality. People's reality, people's perceptions. So when I saw this video today on Citizen TV's social media page on Insta, because I follow them, because I like keeping up with Kenyan news, it's covering the fact that, Trump is helping the South African refugees find asylum in the United States, right? Because of what's going on. Let's not pretend that the Pan-African leaders have not been chanting to kill the white boer. Let's not pretend that's not happening.
Shoot to kill! Yamaza! Kill the poor!
Because we all know it's happening. I literally posted a video today on TikTok talking about this and my YouTube shorts. Let's see how long it stays up. So these are actually people being persecuted in a country they were born, right? So Trump wants to help them, and I'm so happy I voted for this man because this man has a heart. In 19-something, I'm gonna put the year here when I find it. He actually flew Nelson Mandela to America on his private jet. This is the same man they called racist. So shame on all of you who think that. Do your homework. It's very cliche. With the comments, I had a moment where I was just like, this is not happening. Kenyans really feel this way. Pan-Africanism, I've always been very much against Pan-Africanism because at the bottom line, when you see that fist, that's a Marxist fist. Pan-Africanism is all just a Marxist organization that's based on black people, okay? They want to unify only the black Africans. It doesn't matter if you were born on the continent. If you're not my skin tone, they don't want you in their group. I don't want to be in that group. I don't like hate groups. It's like a BLM, but it's based in Africa. That's all that is. I did not expect there are so many Pan-Africans and Afrocentrics in Kenya. I have expected them in South Africa for obvious reasons, because unfortunately when things like those happen, you tend to get extremist groups being formed to cope with and deal with the situation, and then they think they're doing something good, which they're not, because you don't fight hate with hate. In West Africa, I would expect Pan-Africans because of the transatlantic slave trade. But in Kenya, call me naive, but I was not expecting that. And I'm going to put some of these comments on the screen. I'm not even going to blot out their usernames, because why? If you have the balls to write that on a comment section, then we should be able to be blasted. But I was in shock reading these comments. When I hear words, things like, to get rid of all of them. Oh, that's how you feel about white people living in Africa? So that's how you feel about my husband? Is that how you feel about my children? Because you see them as this kind of superior beings? That's your inferiority speaking. You deal with that. But is that how we actually feel, y'all? Is that how? Hiya. And then this guy is spreading just some stupid stuff about Elon. Oh, he's embarrassing the nation that took him in, blah, blah. Really? I am pretty sure Elon Musk, if he really shared his sentiments about South Africa, I feel he'd have a story to tell there about how he was treated. There's a reason why he moved to America and became an American citizen, an African American, if you will. But I think I'm just shocked. Oh, another reason why I feel this way. In the early 2000s, when I still lived in Kenya and I was working in downtown Nairobi, around 2010-ish, I remember there was a time when Kenyans in South Africa were being persecuted by South Africans. They were in danger, their lives were in danger, and they were moving out. They actually got a lot of xenophobia from native South Africans. You know why? Because the South Africans believed Kenyans were stealing their jobs. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Does it sound anywhere familiar to what you've heard coming out of America about African immigrants coming to steal their jobs? So it's funny to me that people, Kenyans, who have experienced xenophobia from South Africans who look like them, by the way, because these are not white South Africans being xenophobic, it's people who look like me. The same Kenyans are being hateful and racist to South Africans who are suffering at the hands of Pan-Africans and whose lives are in danger. Make that make sense. But outside of that, if we're going to talk about apartheid, let's talk about apartheid. No, it was not a good time in South Africa. Same way slavery was not a good time in America. Why hasn't the South African government taken certain measures to fix that? Why has there not been a plan to deal with the ramifications of apartheid? Why is it the white farmers who are being punished for everything? If you feel they're not being taxed enough, whose fault is that? Is it the white farmers' fault or is it the South African government's fault? Why are you angry at the wrong people? What gives you a justification to kill them? Is my question. Because when you're trying to comment about something and supporting it, you are supporting evil. And if you want them out, don't worry, they're leaving. I know a lot of South African conservatives who voted for Trump. I know at least 3 to 5 of them. And they left because of this issue. Being hateful because someone hated you will never fix the world. And I don't know when we're going to learn that as human beings. The problem in Africa is not colonization or colonialism. It's Marxism, socialism, and government bureaucracy. I don't know when that's going to sink in for you guys. And for those who are so interested in American politics, how about you lay off CNN, maybe watch something else, maybe go to YouTube, perhaps maybe try and actually follow conservatives who look like me, who are proud to be Americans and don't buy into the victimhood nonsense. They have a very different point of view. And if you really do care about what's going on, you're going to try to look at their point of view. What is different about them? Why do they not cry victim? Why are they not angry with the world? Why don't they use slavery as their crutch? And how America is racist? Why do they vote for Trump? Ask them. Go read their stories. Because apparently you won't listen to me. And by then I'm expecting a lot of hate because I commented on that same video I'm talking about. And I wrote this. So I'm waiting to hear back. And I know it's not going to be pretty. It never is. But I'm just going to call out Kenyans. Those Kenyans who are racist, check yourselves. You know better than the slave owners. You know better than Robert Mugabe. And if you think Pan-Africanism is the answer to anything, you have another thing coming. Do some more homework on what Pan-Africanism is. And then maybe you can start a conversation. But don't worry, those white South African farmers are so welcome. They actually love America already. The fact that they're holding little flags and flying them makes me smile. Because it's so funny. No one hates immigrants who love this country more than the liberals of this country who hate it here but won't leave. It has never made sense to me. You don't want to love your country? Well, I'm here. I'm going to love it for you. I'm going to proudly wear my march. I will proudly carry my flag. I will do it for you, but you hate me for it. Make that make sense. But then you guys are okay with the illegals coming in, right? MS-13 gang members coming in, right? But we're not okay with people who are being persecuted in their home country, South Africa, coming in because they're the wrong skin tone. Your racism is showing. Do better. Guys, I'm sorry. It was a day. Okay. Also, rest in peace, Omar. Kenyan Hippie out.